I am just a tight ball of stress and anxiety right now. If I can finish writing the entire finale of the book before Camp NaNo ends, I will consider this a very successful Camp NaNoWriMo. Welcome to week 2 of Camp NaNoWriMo. This morning I did not get up early, which is what I find I need to do to be able to get my writing in for the day. And then I tried to write anyways, but Patrick was already awake and he started watching Into the Spider-Verse and I got distracted, so I got about 10 words in before I gave up. It is almost 5:30 and I still haven't gotten started on my homework for today, so I'll be lucky if I do any writing tonight. I might have to play catch up tomorrow morning. I'm just out here with the goats right now. Ouch! Who bit me? That was a chicken. This chicken just bit me. On day 2 of week 2, and this morning I was able to get up not early, but I did get up and I wrote about 955 words, something around there, and then I got to go on a bike ride with my sister. So that was a nice way to kind of shake up my workout routine a little bit, do something different, and it was so lovely. So after the bike ride, I came home where Patrick was setting up his brand new desk, with Simon's help, of course. And while Patrick was setting up his desk, he was listening to the audiobook of Creativity Incorporated. It's an awesome book. I listened to it back in 2018 and it inspired me to do this video up here. It was really good to listen to it again. Just the part that I listened in on, he was talking about the making of Toy Story 2 and how he had talked about all the passion that went into making the first Toy Story movie. And then when they were making Toy Story 2, I'm pretty sure they had linked up with Disney for the very first time. And Disney said, you need to make a sequel to Toy Story 1 because of such a big hit. He described the complexity of Pixar trying really hard to stick to their own standards of excellence while making a sequel especially in the face of Disney not really caring that the sequel was all that good, because the sequel was just meant to be a moneymaker. Toy Story 2 was originally a disaster when they started working on it, and they got far enough into the project that it was kind of a there's no going back now spot typically in the filmmaking process, but that they realized it was just so bad and was not going to meet their standards that they actually ended up placing the people who were in charge of the whole project, which was a really big deal for them, and they started the whole movie over again. And it was just interesting to hear that part of the process of making Toy Story 2, because as I was working on my writing this morning, I am currently rewriting the first chapter of my book again. And it feels like, I know I'm not alone in this, but it feels like the first chapter is one that you rewrite a billion times before the book is done. And I have already spent so much time working on chapter 1, and I got it to be what felt like just right before sending it out to my beta readers, and that was after many long weeks of slaving over it, having Patrick read it and give me feedback, sending it out to one of my friends to give me feedback, running it through the Hemingway editor and doing my own edits on it. And then after sending out to beta readers, I realized that even though chapter 1 was really polished, the way I had written it was setting up the wrong expectation for the rest of the book. And so all my beta readers were confused at the end of the book because chapter 1 had set them up to want one thing, and then that's not what ended up happening in the end. So I knew I was going to need to rework chapter 1 quite a bit. And I have several different ideas in my head of like the specific scenes that could open chapter 1. So as I've been working on it last week and this week, I've just kind of written all those different versions into one scene, and suffice it to say, chapter 1 is turning out to be way too long right now, and I feel a familiar frustration in that, because in my head I'm like, no, I have to get chapter 1 to be perfect now. It has to be just right, and I have to keep working on it until it's just right. And listening to that audiobook today just reminded me it doesn't have to be just right yet, because I'm still in the middle of the process and can still change things. I just have to do what's best for the project. I'm remembering that this is a process that I've been through before, where I write something and instead of just getting stuck on it for weeks at a time, I just need to write it and then leave it be and work on something else and then go back to it. I know that I'll be able to get the first chapter to be really polished because I've done it once before. I can do it again, and this time it will be the right first chapter. So anyways, it was just really interesting to walk in and hear that audiobook and remember that, yeah, this is the creative process. You make mistakes and then you go back and you rework it until it meets your standards and until the story is being told the way that you mean for it to be told.
That's almost flirting. Luckily, Hardeep still has his decorative chocolate shards to play with. 2 minutes to go.
Sitting here watching Crazy Delicious in bed, and the owls outside are insanely loud right now. Just every once in a while they just start chatting it up. You can hear the baby really well. Ooh. Every time I try to record the sound though, they stop. So one of them is hunting and making this like high-pitched squealing sound, and then the baby pipes up every once in a while and sounds like a monkey. I gotta get closer to the window so that you can hear it.
Oh, it's 3 different ones.
Yeah. And then Patrick keeps going outside and then they stop. Oh. My parents are right above us on the balcony, listening. Patrick and I were trying to pick out the different sounds that the owls were making because they have like 4 different sounds that they make. So we were like, there's that sound, and then we heard another one. And Patrick was like, I haven't heard that one before. We realized it was my dad pretending to be one up on the balcony above our window. But anyways, where are they?
They're still in those trees.
freaking cool. This is when we feel like we live in the middle of the woods. I am just a tight ball of stress and anxiety right now because when I woke up this morning, I made the sacrifice of writing in my book so that I could write these 6 essay answers that have been weighing on me all week. I just couldn't sleep over them, and I just woke up and thought, I have to get these out of the way or I will never be able to breathe again. And so I sat up in bed, pulled out my laptop, and I spent hours this morning writing these 6 essay answers. And right before I finished, I had like a paragraph left to write. My mom needed my help with something on the computer. It wasn't working on her computer, so she tried using it on my computer, and she accidentally closed the window where I had written my essay answers, and I tried to get them back and they are gone. This could so easily have been avoided in a lot of ways if I had just been smarter about it, if I had saved it first, if I had copied and pasted it into a Google document, anything. There are a number of things that I could have done differently that would have kept this from happening, but I didn't, and they're gone, and hours of work is gone, and I am so tight with anxiety right now that Patrick and I are just gonna go out and eat some food. And then I'll come back and work on the essays again. And I know this is one of those things that's probably a lot bigger in my head. In the grand scheme of life, this is not even a moment I'm going to remember. And I'm sure because I've already written these answers, I'm sure it'll be easier to write them the next time. But they were just, the thought of sitting down and writing them again is making me sick, physically ill. So I'm just gonna go eat out, enjoy, and then try to get the rest of my homework done. And I'm gonna give writing in the evening a second try. It never works, but who knows, maybe today it'll work. On the bright side, this box of Marion berries is absolutely delicious. Oh, I finally finished. It took me, I think, 3 hours to write it the first time this morning. And then the second time took even longer because I realized there was actually a question that I had missed. There are 7 essay questions that I needed to answer. So now it's 8 o'clock. My day is gone, my day is over, and all I've done all day is work on this homework assignment. So now I am enjoying the company of my favorite baby goats. Say hello, Felix. Hello, YouTube. I'm Felix the goat, and I like warm hugs. This is the most relaxing thing to do after a long day of homework, I tell you what.
I got a gloomy disposition. Oh, what a position, this position I'm in. The weather's kinda cloudy. Oh, should be sleeping so soundly if you were right beside me.
I did not end up writing last night. It was just one of those days, and I ended up watching Hamilton again instead. My mom hadn't seen it yet. We stayed up until like 2:30 in the morning watching Hamilton because we started it really late at night and it's like 3 hours long. So I had a hard time getting up this morning, and I think it also had to do with the fact that I spent the entire day yesterday writing those essay answers, and I'm so burnt out on all that writing, and that was not fun writing for me. I was just really pooped, and this morning not feeling excited to get up and write, even if it was working on my book. So before starting my writing session this morning, I watched my first ever Camp NaNoWriMo Week 2 video, and I'm so glad I did because that's just a really great video to watch if you're feeling kind of down about your writing, or if you're feeling overwhelmed, or like you're forgetting how fun camp is. My enthusiasm was just kind of contagious back then. I really liked that in that video, I started off that week with like an affirmation, or I called it my Camp Nano battle cry. And it was something like, success is not a lack of failure, it is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. Something like that. And I was just thinking, maybe I should do that every week of Camp NaNoWriMo. I'll find myself a battle cry and let that be the theme of the week to just remind me when things get hard. Because even in that video, even though my enthusiasm was really high, you can see that I was starting to get burnt out. I had some really rough things going on in my personal life at the time, which I touched on in that video, but I didn't lose my enthusiasm. And I find that inspiring, especially because that was me. And knowing that if I could be that way once, I can be that way again. It gave me just enough juice to manage to sit down and work on my book. I got about 700 words in, and by that time it was past noon. It's 12:50 right now. I decided to just go on my walk, because also in that video I was going on walks every day, and I remembered why I started this tradition of going on daily walks during Camp NaNo. It's because I wanted to have a fitness goal that I could do daily, and having an exercise goal is not sustainable for me daily, because sometimes your body needs a break and you have to take days off. Whereas with walking, you can do that every day, and it's simple, low-key, manageable. I like that I started that tradition back then, and I'm glad that I've been sticking with it and going for my walk pretty much every day. Yesterday is the first day of this camp that I didn't do any writing, but that's okay, because sometimes you just need to take a break, and there's nothing wrong with that. Patrick just bought me a gimbal, which I've been wanting for a really long time, but just never had the guts to actually reach out and buy one. So I'm using the Osmo 3 right now, and I think it really helps keep the camera pretty stable as I'm walking, because normally when I vlog while I'm walking, it's really shaky, and that didn't used to bother me back in the day, but now as I'm trying to improve the quality of my videos, I really wanted to reduce the shakiness of my camera. So let me know what you guys think, if this makes a big difference or not. It's nice because it's so smooth. Anyways, I'm going to continue my walk, and for the rest of this week I'm going to try to focus on just enjoying this process and not being too hard on myself, which I know I always say, but I still end up doing it anyways.
We drove to In-N-Out, the burger joint you always talked about. It was slightly snowing, so I drove very carefully. I didn't know it then, 'cause you and I were only friends. The thing I'd find when I'd look in your eyes, love is sharing fries. Love is
Patrick and I just got back from a bike ride, rode into the little downtown area close to where we live, and we got some breakfast burritos. And right now I am so full from eating that entire burrito that I can hardly breathe, and I'm huffing and puffing and carrying my laundry up the stairs so that I can do my laundry. So I'm just gonna give a little update while I do my laundry here. Yesterday I got a little over 2,000 words in, which is the most I've gotten so far this camp. Most of those words, to be honest, were words I had already written, and I just kind of shuffled where they went and moved them around, but I still counted them because I'm counting how many words into my book I can get. So those words counted for me. Today I've only gotten like 104 words so far because I just finished chapter 1. So now I need to go and write the last chapter of the book, since I'm going back and forth. I made some last minute changes to the way that I want to do my last chapter, and I wrote them in some notebook somewhere, and I can't remember where the notebook is or which notebook I wrote that in. So I actually need to go through all my stuff and find the notebook where I put all those notes to myself about what I wanted to change about the last chapter. So I'm probably gonna do that this evening, because even though I don't like to write in the evenings, I do like to work through my book in the evenings. So that is something I can do. And then I'm not anticipating getting any more words in today, probably more so tomorrow. I'll try to catch up. But for today, I need to do my homework, and then I need to figure out what my goal is for the last chapter of the book and get all that squared away so that tomorrow morning I can write all the words.
I was fascinated when you told me of the stories that you posted on the internet when you were kind of lonely. How could I know it then, when you and I were only friends? I thought it'd be a bitter compromise, but love is sharing fries. Love is sharing fries.
She looks so funny when she's newly cut. I'm gonna close out this vlog here while I'm waiting for my pork chops to cook in the smoker. I think it's a smoker. Anyways, so I only ended up getting in about a little over 700 words this morning, which was okay because after finding my plans for the last chapter of the book, I did need to do a little bit more organization this morning to figure out exactly how I wanted to go about it, and if I really wanted to write the last chapter. I wasn't exactly sure where the last chapter would begin, because basically, even though this is like the 4th draft that I'm writing, the ending has always just been like random scenes with a lot of stuff skipped in the middle. So I'm basically drafting the ending, the real ending, for the first time, which is exciting. So I decided how I'm gonna do it is I'm not exactly writing the last chapter, I am writing the finale, from the beginning of the finale to the end of the book. And then I'll split that up into chapters after I know what that looks like, because I don't know what that's gonna look like exactly. I only have it all written down in bullet points on a piece of paper, and yeah, so I was really happy with how the writing session went this morning though. It was exciting and it felt like I was writing something brand new, because it kind of is brand new. I've been just rewriting the same scenes over and over again for so long that it felt really refreshing to write just a brand new scene. I'm ending week 2 a little bit behind in my word count goal, but I'm not too concerned about that at this point. I think I'll definitely be able to make that up, especially as I'm drafting a lot of new scenes over the next several days or weeks. And if I can finish writing the entire finale of the book before Camp Nano ends, I will consider this a very successful Camp NaNoWriMo, because the rest of the book I don't think is going to be that hard to fix once I have a solid ending. I don't have my notebook with me right now, so I don't know off the top of my head what my word count is for week 2 or my step count, so I'll just put those numbers on the bottom of the screen. And then for anybody who might be confused about how I'm counting weeks of Camp NaNoWriMo, I'm just counting it by 7-day increments, because it feels a little awkward that Camp NaNoWriMo started in the middle of the week on a Wednesday. That always throws me off and confuses me about how I should count weeks. And so for me, it just is a little bit easier to be like, okay, week 1 was the first 7 days of the month, week 2 is the second 7 days of the month. I can do the math that way in my head and not get super thrown off. Based on other vlogs that I've been watching on AuthorTube, I feel like I'm the only one who's measuring the weeks this way during this camp, and that's okay. But just so you guys are not confused. Week 2 is a success. Looking forward to week 3. Homework is a beast. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that your Camp Nano is going well if you're participating, and I hope that the writing is going well if you're not. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.
Ray, would you come and take a walk with me? We'll cross over the mountains and we'll reach the pale blue sea. I love you. I'm so glad you love me too. And I wrote this song for you. Every word I say is true.